Part 43. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 421. Under Wen Kai's six-fold mirror, he saw the person from a distance. He was not sure whether the other party's helmet had residual blood. If this shot was not fatal, the only effect would be to reveal his position. The battle was stalemate. Wen Qiao has calmed down. She is a master. She can be on par with her family's Wen Qi, there is no doubt about her level. The addition of Gu Xiao is definitely more powerful. In the autumn regular season, it will definitely not be a problem to be shortlisted. Wen Qiao shook her head and saw that Wen Qi took off her headphones, threw them on the table, and turned her eyes to Gu Xiao's computer page. In the end, the winner was Gu Xiao. Wen Kai's face was a little gloomy, but he had to accept it. This is really a humming master. Brother Dong pressed Gu Xiao's shoulder. Welcome to the AF Club. Gu Xiao glanced at Wen Qi. You're pretty good. He only had a little blood left, and he was almost finished. Brother Dong patted Wen Kai's head. I'm still in a hurry. When he gets a little closer, your chance of winning is even greater, and you must win this game. Brother Qi is not very comfortable. Brother Qi was defeated by Brother Dong some time ago, and now he is defeated by a boy who doesn't know where to fight. Brother Qi, who has always been invincible, is a little suspicious of life. Is he getting weaker? Wen Qiao is happy. If someone in a club can suppress Wen Qi, his strength will only get stronger and stronger. Wen Qi? Is it my sister? Brother Dong patted Wen Qi on the shoulder again. Don't be discouraged, his level is about the same as yours. Wen Qi pouted. This is the first time he has encountered an opponent that is evenly matched with him. Fortunately, it is from the same team, otherwise it would be really difficult to deal with. And he's 19, and you're only 16. You'll have a longer career than him. Wen Qiao, Brother Dong, people are still here, you talk. Do you have to pay attention to? Gu Xiao doesn't seem to care much. I'm really not too young, can you pour me a glass of water? His face is fair, the end of his eyes is slightly raised, and his youthful feeling is dyed with 2 points of coquettishness, and his tone is always lazy. Looking at Wen Qiao like this, Wen Qiao really turned around and took him a glass of water from the water dispenser, and then handed to him. After all, she is going to be the mainstay of the club, so naturally her boss will not treat him badly. Wen Qi exploded. Wen Qiao, I asked you to take Coke, but you don't take it. He asked you to pour water, but you are obedient. Whose sister are you? Wen Qiao pushed his head. I only pour water for the winner. Did you win? Wen Qi. What should I do if my sister always bullies me? I can't talk about her, and I can't beat her. The grievances my grandfather has suffered in life are all from my sister. Gu Xiao smiled and looked at the siblings. Brother Dong put one hand on his waist. Our club's players at least crush other clubs in terms of appearance. Wen Qiao, it's no use just looking good. What we want is results, and what we want is to win. Brother Dong smiled. Winning is a matter of time. Gu Xiao, come out for a while. Wen Qiao led Gu Xiao out of the training room and talked with him about the treatment. Because you don't have grades, so in terms of treatment. It doesn't matter at the moment, just let me play the game. If the treatment is not treated well, you can just watch it. Wen Qiao's eyebrows trembled. She is someone who, like Brother Dong, doesn't care about money. Is she lucky? Wen Qiao gave the salary that should be paid as usual, and reserved a bedroom for Gu Xiao. He lived in the student dormitory of Fukai University most of the time. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 422. Before leaving, Wen Qiao asked, what department are you studying at Fukai University? Computer Science, he said. After Wen Qiao left, Gu Xiao went into his bedroom. When he opened the messenger bag, a black wallet fell out. Brother Dong, who happened to come to talk to him, picked it up and opened the wallet. Gu Xiao grabbed the photo, closed it, and put it in the bag. Brother Dong smiled, "Is that you?" Although Gu Xiao was smiling, the smile did not reach his eyes. "What's wrong? You didn't look much like you used to look like now. I had a car accident before and had to have plastic surgery on my face." Brother Dong smiled, "Before and now, it's pretty good looking, but it's not the same. It's pretty successful. I only glanced at it quickly, but I didn't really see it clearly, but the boy in the photo was really good looking." Gu Xiao didn't speak, and Brother Dong said again, "You settle down for a while, go to training for a while, and then resume the test. Are you nervous about your schoolwork? Fine. Then I'll arrange a training schedule for you, don't take it lightly. It is good." The Fu family crossed the winding mountain road. An open space by the sea was the private cemetery of the Fu family. In front of the tombstone, Fu Nanli, his mother and grandfather stood quietly with large black umbrellas. It was his father's birthday. If his father was still alive, today would be his 54th birthday. Yamingkaiu sent a bouquet of flowers, her eyes were slightly red. The drizzle carried the sea breeze under the umbrella's eaves. Fu Nanli looked at the photo on the icy stone tablet, and his father smiled politely at him. His father died when he was 9 years old. 20 years passed by so quickly. Sometimes, if he didn't look at the photos or some videos, he couldn't even remember what his father looked like. He still can't understand why his father was born with a golden spoon. He is handsome and talented, his wife is beautiful and capable, his son is cute and well behaved, and everyone around him flatters and fawns on him. Such a life that everyone envy, isn't it? Why commit suicide? The rain dripped down the black umbrella canopy on the dazzling green lawn, and fell on the flagstone road, dripping. Fu Huiyang's health was not very good. He was holding crutches and had a sad face. He left him early alone. The greatest pain in the world was just sending a black-haired person to a white-haired person. After standing for a while, he couldn't bear to immerse himself in this great sadness, turned and walked out along the path of the cemetery. Yamingkaiu glanced at the person on the tombstone, a look of resentment flashed in the eyes of the always cheerful person, and then turned and left the cemetery. Fu Nanli was the only one left, the wind from the sea was blowing from all sides, and the cemetery seemed to be covered with a layer of fog, and everything seemed so hazy. At that time, my grandfather asked my father to work in the family's business. My father loved music and rebelled against my grandfather. Is it because of these things that he chose to commit suicide? So later, even if he joined the airline as a captain, even if his grandfather objected to what he did, he never dared to be too tough. He had already lost a son and could not afford to lose another grandson. Unlike his father, who was sensitive and vulnerable, he wouldn't risk his life just because someone forced him to do something. The rain smeared on his black suit, and his grief was buried in the rain of early May. All sadness will disappear with time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 423. A row of holly grows outside the cemetery, full of greenery. Yamingkaiu sat in the car and saw a person standing behind the big tree at the end of the greenery. The car passed by slowly. She asked the driver to stop the car, and when the door closed, the woman in a camel-long trench coat holding a large black umbrella was startled. Yamingkaiu walked up to her with disgust in his eyes. Who asked you to come? The woman was in her 40s, her eyes flickering slightly. Today is his birthday. I I just want to take a look at his tombstone from a distance. This is the Fu family's private cemetery. Only the Fu family can enter. You are an outsider, what qualifications do you have to come? The woman lowered her eyes and murmured, "Yes, I'm sorry." Yamingkaiu saw the tall figure coming out from the entrance of the cemetery, and her voice became more and more severe, "Go back to where you should go. If my son sees you, I will not indulge you." The corners of the woman's lips trembled, she glanced at Fu Nanli at the entrance of the cemetery, and quietly retreated behind the tree. Fu Nanli's car approached slowly, and glanced at his mother, "What are you doing out of the car here?" Yamingkaiu had already packed up his emotions and returned to his car. "I seem to have seen a squirrel." Fu Nanli lowered his eyes, "Go back." "Understood." The two black cars went along the coastline and returned to the winding mountain road. Yamingkaiu leaned on the seat, stretched out his hand and pinched his eyebrows, and sighed softly. The dead are gone, and the pain is left to the living. She really loves it and hates it. After retrieving Wenqiao, Fu Nanli has two things to do. One is to donate 10 million incense money to Hualong Temple where the old monk is located. The old abbot is flattered and deserves to be the richest man. He is much more generous than the average boss. Another thing is to ask Wenqiao who hurt that Fang or something to frame her. He originally wanted to find her, but Wenqiao avoided seeing her because Wenqiao insisted that they didn't know each other at this time. What can Master Fu do? Master Fu can only contact her by phone, starting from netizens. Find out who hurt Fang and what. Fang Duo, her name is Fang Duo, this matter has been resolved, you don't have to worry about it. Because He Yan is He Jun's younger sister, and He Jun should be Fu Nanli's best friend. Since she has already avenged her, there is no need to turn their friends against them. But this matter, she will let He Jun know, at least he can control his sister. If He Yan is willing to restrain herself and never target her from now on, she can assume that it didn't happen. In this way, Fu Nanli wouldn't be embarrassed. Fu Nanli, what is resolved? What do you mean don't care? The person who harmed Fang Duo has committed suicide. The dust has settled and it is over. As for the public opinion, it is slowly fading away. In addition, I came up with the scene where we should meet for the first time. I went to the airport and saw the captain wearing you and your crew in uniform passed by me, who was waiting, and I fell in love with you at first sight, and began to pursue, but you can't agree right away. Fu Nanli pressed his temples and made a voice. Wenqiao could hear a bit of gnashing of teeth. Why not? Wenqiao also started to speak. This is Oak, you are the only heir of the Fu consortium, you are very cold. You are beautiful, I fell in love with you at first sight, which is in line with the normal plot development. No, it doesn't match, you are the young master of the Fu family. What kind of beauty have you never seen before? There's no reason to fall in love with a girl you don't know at first sight. When I go to confess, you must reject it coldly at first, okay? Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 424. Fu Nanli thought, he is a 29-year-old man who is busy with work, why does he want to play with children? He told Zhou Jin about this, but Zhou Jin said seriously, she doesn't want to play with you, frankly, she has a certain degree of psychological disorder, which is also a type of mental illness, and her lies are abrupt. It was revealed to the world, and she was caught off guard by someone seeing her unbearable. I have endured for a long time without piercing her. Are you still caught off guard? For her, she was caught off guard. Her current behavior shows that she blames herself for having lied to you. She doesn't want your relationship to be mixed with any lies. I didn't blame her, and I clearly told her. Your guilt does not contradict her guilt. Human nature is very complicated and delicate. Since she wants to pursue you again, you should cooperate with her, do as she says, and wait for her psychological shadow to disappear. All right. On May 5th, the beginning of summer, there are still 3 days until the wedding of Soo-yoon and Ji Mingyuan on May 8. Fu Nanli flew to Helsinki, and Wen Qiao went to the airport to create a random encounter. What she didn't expect was that her cousin Su Ying and her boyfriend Yao Hung were in the same terminal as her, sitting not far behind her. Su Ying naturally saw Wen Qiao. After all, Wen Qiao was the most dazzling presence in the crowd. Wherever she Saturday she wore a sports-style knitted skirt and a short denim jacket over her head. The smoky pink peaked cap is so youthful and beautiful that many people are whispering about whether it is a female star. Su Ying rolled her eyes. There was a commotion not far away. She raised her eyes and saw that the crew was preparing to board the plane. Standing in the middle of the crowd was the Fu family's young master Fu, who worked in the airline. Who hasn't heard all kinds of rumors about the Fu family's prince? The grandson of the richest man, tall and handsome, a chaebol prince, a graduate of a world-class school, an elite in science and engineering, and the most secure heroic captain of Dongchuan Airlines. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Wen Qiao standing up and walking towards the crew. Su Ying snorted softly, "What does she want?" Having said that, he also got up and followed Wen Qiao's footsteps. Fu Nanli pushed the captain's trolley case in his hand and watched her walking towards him. It was the beginning of summer, but the air conditioning in the airport hall was full. The number 24 sports dress was covered with a denim jacket, ginger-colored socks, black and white. Alternating shell shoes. Youthful. When Su Shen and the others saw Xiao Wen coming, they hurriedly left them alone. There was only Su Ying alone, leaning against a column, quietly looking at Wen Qiao and the master Fu. Wen Qiao rehearsed in her heart, and said a little nervously, "Are you Captain Fu?" Fu Nanli's hand was holding the handle of the suitcase, with blue veins showing. Thinking of Zhou Jin's words, his Adam's apple slid up and down, and finally forced himself to answer, "Yes." "Well, I was on that plane when you avoided an air crash before. Thank you for saving us." What a reasonable approach. Wen Qiao felt that it was not very difficult to fall in love. In Su Ying's eyes, young Master Fu was extremely indifferent and asked Wen Qiao, "Is something wrong?" "No. I'm fine. I just wanted to ask, can Captain Fu give me a WeChat ID? I want to invite you to dinner in private and thank you." Su Ying cursed in a low voice, "Wen Qiao, what is the nympho? Do you want to lose face? Thank you babies for monthly tickets and rewards, one group mua. Continue to ask for monthly tickets and recommended tickets. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 425. From this angle, she could only see half of Fu Xiao's face. Anyway, she was very indifferent, which made her feel very happy. She gloated that Wen Qiao had closed doors. No God knows how much mental construction Fu Nanli has done. Remembering what Wen Qiao said to him, "It can't be oik, it can't be in line with the personality," and finally said the sentence "no." Su Ying almost shouted that she deserved it, and she felt sober. She thought she could do whatever she wanted by relying on her beauty. She was dreaming. Fu Xiao, what kind of family, what beauties have never seen? Wen Qiao pursed her lips and wanted to say something. Fu Nanli raised her wrist and looked at her watch. "Sorry, I'm boarding the plane." After speaking, he walked past her indifferently, leaving her with the ruthless back of his head. As soon as Fu Nanli entered the gate, Su Ying couldn't wait to jump out. Wen Qiao, I think you are a toad and want to eat swan meat. How dare you think so?" Wen Qiao put her hands in her pockets, looked at her schadenfreude cousin, and pondered whether it was true that the enemy did not get together. She didn't intend to talk to Su Ying, but Su Ying was rather reluctant and grabbed her wrist. "I advise you not to be so arrogant, don't you want any self-esteem?" Wen Qiao raised her eyebrows. "If you say I'm a toad and want to eat swan meat, then you're a dog and a rat, minding your own business." Su Ying gritted her teeth. "Oh, I'm thinking of your family's face. The young master of the Fu family has already rejected you. Please have some face. Wen Qiao, then do you believe I can catch him? Su Ying's eyes were about to turn to the sky. I believe in your evil. Do you really think your face is omnipotent? People who have never seen the world can be attracted by you, so stop dreaming. Wen Qiao pressed the brim of her hat and glanced at her. Her eyes were too cold, and Su Ying stepped aside in fright. Seeing Wen Qiao leaving with an arrogant attitude, she cursed in anger. Why should I be afraid of her? What is she afraid of? But on second thought, Wen Qiao was indifferently rejected by Fu Xiao and became happy again. When Wen Qiao was deflated, she was happy, she was so happy. In the cockpit of Flight D-1005, Su Shen just sat down, and his captain followed closely. Su Shen is currently flying to Munich as the captain, while flying to Helsinki as the co-pilot of Fu Nanli. Didn't you say a few more words to Xiao Wen? It's here so soon. Then I saw his captain's face was a little gloomy, and he was obviously not in a good mood. Is this a quarrel? Go down and do a round of fly inspection. Oh, all right. Su Shen didn't dare to ask any more questions, he could only follow the orders to go around the machine for inspection. Fu Nanli let out a sigh of relief, temporarily forgetting those things, and threw himself into work. On May 8, Su Yun and Ji Mingyuan held a simple but warm wedding. The wedding dress was chosen by Wen Qiao and Lu Yuyu together. It was a very simple style, with no big tails, nor a fishtail skirt, but it was beautiful and romantic. Lu Yuyu also put makeup on Su Yun. Years have never defeated a beauty. Even if she is over 40, even if she has a hard life, Su Yun who dresses up still makes people sigh with emotion. This is what a beauty should look like. Ji Mingyuan even looked a little dumbfounded. A man in his 40s told Wen Qiao to see the feeling of innocence. Uncle Ji is more innocent than Fu Nanli. Fu Nanli is strong and domineering in love. If he offends him, he will only kiss and bite. Wen Qiao's face was a little hot. Fu Nanli didn't come today, and her mother asked her why he didn't come. Wen Qiao could only say that he was still working, went abroad and couldn't come back. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 426. I didn't go to the hotel to have a drink. The banquet was in Ji Minjiuan's yard. There were 6 tables, and relatives and friends on both sides took it. Su Ying looked at her aunt's family, and whispered to her mother, "Do you think Wen Qiao will have a great future? The way for her to be successful is to be a sugar daddy." He Mei immediately became interested. Who is she next to? Fu family, do you know? Zhonghuan. It's the young master of that family, the young master Fu who flew the plane in the airline. He Mei clenched her fists. This girl has a lot of appetite. Did you get up? Su Ying snorted softly. What do you say? Isn't this obvious? People don't pay attention to her at all. He Mei tooted lightly. It's not bad to be on the side, we will definitely follow. Su Ying gave her mother a white look. What do you think? First of all, it's impossible for Master Fu to see her. Even if Fu Xiao is blind, do you think we can get the light? She will only be proud of herself in front of us. We can't get much light, so, Mom, don't expect Wen Qiao to get rich. For a girl like her, a small family and a beautiful girl, the wealthy really don't look down on her. This young Master Fu is not close to women. You think Wen Qiao is a fairy, but if you look at her, you can like her. He Mei said, that girl's face can really be a little fox spirit, it's beautiful and charming. When the wedding started over there,
Suyun and Ji Mingyuan walked onto the simple red carpet with an arched garland in front of the door. Wen Qiao felt very satisfied watching her mother welcome her new life. The witness is the director of the neighborhood committee, a kind aunt in her 50s, who takes care of Wen Qiao and his family on weekdays. Neighbors, Kai Ji's family and several other neighbors with whom they have a good relationship all came. Wen Qiao feels that distant relatives are inferior to close neighbors, which is true. Aunt Kui, the director of the neighborhood committee, began to speak the testimony. Halfway through, a voice came from outside the door. Wen Qiao looked up and saw that her father, Wen Jianmin, who abandoned his wife and children, came at the most inopportune time. He just bullied Uncle Ji as an honest man. Uncle Ji is an honest person, but she and Wen Qi are not. Wen Jianmin came with Sulu. Wen Jianmin saw his ex-wife, who was in her early 40s, wearing a pure white wedding dress was so appropriate. She was beautiful and gentle. Now that I think about it, his ex-wife is very good and very good. Kind. But Sulu's eyes fell directly on Wen Qiao, because her mother was holding the wedding, so she was also wearing a white dress, and the light in the afternoon favored her. However, there was no Fu Nanli by her side. She looked around and found no Fu Nanli. On such a big day, Fu Nanli is not by her side. What does it mean? It goes without saying. She thought darkly, maybe, Master Fu finally got tired of Wen Qiao, it's better. It really didn't come in vain today. Thinking about it, Wen Qiao had already stopped in front of him. He glanced at what Wen Jianmin was holding, and smiled, we have the good intentions, so the two of you don't need to come in. It doesn't count for your seats. She has tried her best to be polite. Wen Jianmin barely maintained the smile on his face, lowered his voice and said, today is also your mother's happy day. Are you still so inhumane? Don't let the guests see the joke. Wen Qiao stretched out her hand on the door frame and said in a low voice, I'm not afraid of losing face. My uncles, aunts, and grandparents in the neighborhood will not laugh at me because of this, because they all know what's going on in my family. They all know you didn't want us at the beginning, they helped us get through the difficulties, so they can be the guests, and you, where did you come from, go back to, we don't need the outdated arrogance. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 427. Toys that were not available when she was 2 years old will be given to her when she is 20 years old. And it wasn't because she had come to her senses, just because she knew that her boyfriend was a powerful man. Sulu hurriedly said, Uncle Wen, let's put the present down and we'll send it to you. Let's go first, Wen Qiao, she will understand your good intentions. Wen Jianmin knew this girl's temperament, looked at her unselfish appearance, and glanced at Suyun behind her, with a hint of remorse. Originally, he would have a gentle and virtuous wife, 2 excellent sons and a daughter. Looking at it now, I sighed faintly, feeling a little regretful. The wedding continued, and Wen Qiao was moved by the sincere blessings of the neighbors. As soon as she sat down, she saw her aunt, who always liked to talk big things, approached her, and said in a bitter tone, Jojo, your father. They're all coming, why didn't you let him in? Your dad is so sullen, the family doesn't talk about the two families, what kind of hatred is there, it's been so long, it's time to let it go. Wen Qiao looked at her aunt with a smile, do you want to be kicked out like Wen Jianmin? He may cursed in her heart, damn girl. I'm not all for your own good. Wen Qiao's smile deepened, I hope you don't mind your own business, and one more thing, I'm going to chase people away. You know me, and I'm not afraid of being embarrassed. He may hurriedly flashed. The dead girl never showed her mercy, and if she went on, she would be blown away. So, the wedding continued warmly and beautifully. At the dinner table, Wen Mo tugged at Wen Qiao's hand, and Wen Qiao looked back at him, what's the matter?
Although when Mo can speak, there is a problem. He can only speak in front of Wen Xiao. Dr. Chen said that he should get used to it slowly and let her talk to Wen Mo more. When Xiao Mo is used to talking, he will speak to him. Someone communicated. Brother-in-law, why didn't you come? He was still speechless, not very smooth. When she also came over, yeah, why didn't my brother-in-law come? These two people, called brother-in-law, called it a smooth mouth. Mom and Uncle G were toasting at the table. Wen Xiao frowned, didn't I tell you? He works abroad and can't come back in time. Wen Qi held his chin, isn't my brother-in-law very concerned about your affairs? Can't he come back on our mother's big day? Wen Xiao pushed his head, what are you questioning? If I say I can't make it back, I can't make it back. For my brother, it is to be simple and rude. Brother Qi is aggrieved, what are you mad at? Wen Xiao took a crab for him, if you eat, don't talk, don't sleep, don't talk when you eat. Wen Qi hummed, looking back and seeing my brother-in-law asking him to discipline you well, I don't care about my brother at all. Under the table, Wen Xiao stepped on his instep, and Wen Qi almost cried out. Sister asked you to eat quietly, can you be quiet? Can be able to, can. The social elder brother of the 9th high school tyrant never imagined that one day he would be at the bottom of the food chain of force value, and he would not be able to beat even a single girl. Wen Xiao gave him another drumstick, good. As soon as he turned his head, Wen Mo looked at her worriedly, and Wen Xiao touched his head, he's really busy with work and can't come back in time. Wen Mo is delicate and sensitive, different from Wen Qi. He is worried that his sister and brother-in-law will break up. The brother-in-law is very good, and he accepts this brother-in-law. He doesn't want them to break up. Wen Xiao poured him a drink, eat, eat. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 428. When she bit the chicken leg and whispered, it's the same brother, why is the treatment so different? Wen Xiao squinted at him, Wen Qi snorted and dared not speak. The atmosphere was very good. Brother Kai's grandmother even cried. The neighbors sincerely wished them well. The old lady took Suyun as her daughter and Wen Xiao and the others as her granddaughter and grandson. She was very happy that Suyun and Ji Mingyuan could be together. Aunt Fatty and her sister also came to eat. Aunt Fatty also wanted to marry Ji Mingyuan, but she couldn't compare to Suyun. Although she was upset, Ji Mingyuan only had Suyun in her heart. Fat Auntie was quite drunk, she ran to Suyun and said some heartfelt words such as how good your life is, and that you must live well with Mingyuan. Suyun was originally a sentimental person, so she burst into tears when she said that. Aunt Fatty helped her away, and the banquet was not finished. Suying kept rolling her eyes, a second marriage, as for it, isn't it just a partner to live together? He Mei quickly pulled her, okay, don't say it. Wen Jianmin has come to ask for peace. Wen Xiao's little girl has a lot of patience, so she still has to get on well with their family. Soleil also disdained for the Hemingway, I'm married. The three of them go to drink, and they only pay 600 yuan. My aunt is getting married. Mom, do you want to pay 3,600 yuan? I really get angry thinking about it. He Mei whispered, don't talk about you brother and sister. She was very content to let their family come to drink, and of course she had to wrap a big red envelope to express her feelings. Finally finished the wedding wine and the guests dispersed. Su Ying snorted softly, Wen Xiao is a typical representative of a heart that is higher than the sky and a life that is thinner than paper. Mom, I don't think you can get the money you invested, but you may not get it back. I saw it, Wen Xiao is too ambitious, and his life is definitely not good. He Mei pushed her forward, please stop talking, you still talk. The neighbors are helping their family clean up the dishes.
Ji Minjayuan's yard is not far from their house. After Suyun married him, she lived with Ji Mingyuan. Ji Mingyuan wanted the three of them to go there together, but Wen Qiao politely refused. They still live here. Anyway, they are just a few steps away, which is not much different from living together. People can't bully honest people. Wen Qiao and the others have the ability to be self-reliant. It's true that Uncle Ji is good, but they shouldn't eat other people's houses with peace of mind. The members of Wen Qiao Folk Music Club and neighbors helped them clear the table. Wen Qiao took her mother's hand and spoke to her in the room, "Mom, you are only in your early 40s, Uncle Ji has no children, you have considered rebirth." "A child?" Suyun squinted her, "It's a child's family, is this something you should consider?" "Wen Qiao, I told you I'm not too young." Suyun patted her hand, "I told your Uncle Ji about this, your Uncle Ji doesn't want me to have a baby. First, I think I'm getting old, and elderly mothers are dangerous. Second, he said that he really took your 3 children as his own, and he said that he already has 3 children, so there is no need to give birth to one more." Wen Qiao pursed her lips and looked at her mother with a smile, "Do you feel happy?" Suyun touched her head, "Thank you for letting my mother take this step bravely. I am also very lucky to be with your Uncle Ji. My mother is very happy, and our family Qiao Qiao is also happy." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 429. Wen Qiao hugged her mother, "I feel so happy, my mother has been hurt since then." "Silly child, don't cry." "Who cried?" "I didn't cry." The other one who burst into tears was Aunt Xiajun, who was also her mother's best friend, and a wonderful person who gave them a house when they were at their worst. When Suyun got married, she naturally wanted to come back from abroad. Aunt Xiajun's family is well off, because she was sent by the company to Country M, where she met her husband and stayed in New York. She is also in her early 40s, but she is well maintained, her ears are short, her hair is neat, her skin is fair, and she looks foreign. When the guests dispersed, she had time to talk to them personally. She took Wen Qiao's hand and said, "Auntie has been busy all these years and has no time to come back to see you. Qiao Qiao is getting more and more beautiful. Do you have a boyfriend? Auntie has a nephew who is handsome and tall, how about you? Do you want to think about it?" Suyun smiled and held her hand, "Qiao Qiao is very good, she already has a boyfriend." Aunt Xiajun was very annoyed, "Oh, yes, Qiao Qiao looks so good looking, there must be no shortage of suitors." Wen Qiao said with a smile, "Then you talk, I won't disturb you, just speak quickly, don't make Uncle Ji wait too long." Suyun feigned anger, "You child." Wen Qiao hurried out. Wen Qiao and 2 younger brothers stood in the yard and outside the window sill, and could vaguely hear the crying of their mother and Aunt Xiajun. Speaking of the past, speaking of those sad and dark years, who can not bear it? Who can not cry? When the twilight came, Aunt Xiajun and their siblings sent her mother to Uncle Ji's house. It's only 4 households apart, and it's just as long as you lift your feet. Uncle Ji smiled and said to Aunt Xiajun, "Thank you for lending them the house, otherwise I wouldn't know Suyun." Aunt Xiajun certified and said solemnly, "You have to treat her well, or I will not let you go." Wen Qiao remembered her home yo-yo. She and her mother were lucky to have met the best friend in the world. Ji Mingyuan is also very solemn, "I will." Wen Qiao took Aunt Xiajun to the car again, and then took a bank card to her, "Aunt Xiajun, I made some money, when we bought this house, you should take it first, and I will pay for the follow-up. Will be passed on to you." Aunt Xiajun rubbed her head, "Little girl,
if you make some money, it's amazing, right? Is Auntie someone who lacks your money? Wen Qiao stubbornly said, I know you have money, but... Aunt Xiaojun hugged her, silly child, Aunt doesn't want your money, just treat it as a wedding gift for your mother, eh? We Jojo have been the hardest these years. Auntie knows that your mother is a little weak sometimes. Yes, you are the one who supports the house and protects your younger brother. What an auntie can do is trivial, so let's take this house, eh? Wen Qiao's eyes were slightly wet, and it was worth it for a scumbag to exchange such a sincere good person. Thank you, Auntie Xiaojun. Aunt Xiaojun hugged Wen Qiao, Auntie and your uncle have discussed it? After a while, you may focus on your work and return to Heiken, and then you can see each other often. Wen Qiao watched Aunt Xiaojun leave, and went to Uncle Ji's door with Wen Qi and Wen Mo, and told Uncle Ji that they would come here often to eat in the future. Uncle Ji said that he was afraid that you would not come. I came out of Uncle Ji's house and walked towards my house along the long alley full of memories. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 430. When I came to Shuiying Road before, the neighbors here took great care of them, and every time they walked to the door of a family, they would always be stuffed with delicious food. Wen Qiao thought, sometimes I really have to thank Wenji and Min, otherwise how could she know so many warm and kind people? In Fu Nanli's apartment on Shuiying Road, Qin Bei reported to Fu Nanli, Fang Duo is still in the hospital and has ruptured the tendons in both wrists. The operation was quite successful. The normal life may not be affected too much, but it is impossible to play the piano. Fu Nanli just flew back from Helsinki yesterday, and now he is dealing with the company's business. There are too many things to do about the infrastructure project of Midtown. I have to convince myself that if I don't attend the wedding of my girlfriend's mother, I won't participate. Although my heart is about to drown, I have to calm down. Have you found anything? Qin Bei said in a low voice, according to your instructions, I paid attention to what happened during that time period, and found out that Miss He Yan was reported for fraud in jewelry design. All her designs in the past 2 years have been reported. Someone does it for you. Because Wen Qiao refused to say it, Fu Nanli could only speculate in this way. After all, his Qiao is a vengeful person, so as long as it is an unusual thing that happened during that time, it is very likely that his Qiao did it. He Yan. Yes, then I followed the clues and found it was He Yan. Fu Nanli closed the document in his hand. Why does she want Wen Qiao's reputation to suffer? Qin Bei scratched the back of his head, it's most likely because of you. Master Fu was confused again, what do you mean? She seems to like you. Fu Nanli. As a result, He Yan, who had just suffered a wave of unknown attacks, was in full swing and was secretly dealt with by someone unknown. The jewelry designer she opened was forcibly ordered to close by the Market Supervision Department. She suffered such a heavy loss, but the other party didn't show anything, it was like a fog, she couldn't see who was dealing with her at all. She can be sure that it's not Wen Qiao definitely doesn't have that much ability. Her skeptical target was placed on those powerful competitors. Fu Nanli really has to deal with a person, it's really just turning his hands for the clouds and covering his hands for the rain, which is easy. Although she is He Jun's younger sister, as long as there is a threat to his family she would rather be in vain than indulge. Fu Nanli still couldn't help sending a message to Wen Qiao, how about your mother's wedding? Wen Qiao replied to him on WeChat, warm and romantic, I'm glad that my mother can finally be with Uncle Ji. Although Uncle Ji is not as rich as Wenji and Min, he is really good. Even though the other party was a man in his 40s, who was with her mother and did not pose any threat to him, these two compliments from Wen Qiao still made Master Fu feel unhappy. The vinegar tank is in a state of overturning all the year round. You who are chatting with me now, what are you? It's, Us in the parallel world. Fu Nanli burst into laughter. Forget it, children like this, so he will be with him. If she has guilt, he will help her get rid of her guilt. Fu Chuan came over to report to him about his work. He also secretly joined in the development of Nanbin Island. It seems that he is determined to win. Fu Nanli turned over a page of the project cost sheet and signed his name without raising his head. His ambition is not small. He is not only ambitious, but also his ability should not be underestimated. So how do you plan to handle this?